Hello, welcome to Sister Confessions. We have Michelle and Desiree here. Thank you for joining us on our journey, and we're happy you're here. If you have not just subscribed, please subscribe, join in the convo, let us know what you want to talk about, your thoughts, and if any of our conversations inspire or elicit more thoughts about the topic, we'd love for you to share and keep this convo going. So, Michelle, I want to do a check-in. I always love our check-ins to see how things are going in your world and in your life. You're wearing a jacket in California. I normally don't see you in jackets.
Yes, I mentioned to you, I don't know, like just before you hit record, that it's cold, and then I started laughing because I was like, "Oh my gosh," because you live where it snows. It does not snow where I live. So, right now I'm in the park, and it's nice and cold to me, but it's like 60 degrees plus on the positive side.
Plus, right.
But I wanted, yeah. But I wanted to come and I know in the beginning of our episodes, our podcast, we were I was doing it at the park, and I just love it. So I wanted to get back at it. I stopped for a little while because it was, to me, raining or too cold or too hot, all those things, but I wanted to get back to it. That's why I'm bundled up. But you mentioned how cold it is over there right now. And you were
It's
like,
been
"It's a beautiful day today."
Yes, it's been so beautiful here. It's 18 degrees right now, but it's been snowing. I live in Northeast Ohio, so it's been snowing for a few days. We're having a winter storm, and it's just this light, beautiful, fluffy snow. It's been, and I just can't get enough. I sit in front of the window and just stare at big snowflakes. And my boy, he's 17. I'm so proud of him. He works for a landscaping company during the winter and during the summer. And then a few days, and he works there with big snowstorms like this. They texted him a few days ago and said, "Hey, we need your help, like shoveling and icing, salting different properties." So he went to work at 9:30 at night, and he got home at 9:30 in the morning. He worked all through the night. Felt like negative 15 degrees in the middle of the night during the snow. I'm so proud of him.
Oh,
I can't even
wow.
imagine working through the
Me
night
neither.
in the dark,
Me neither.
snow, hard work. He's excited about the money.
I'm sure. Wow.
Yeah.
Must be a nice pretty penny. Those hours in that cold.
It
Wow.
better be a pretty
So
penny, right?
what does he wear, like, to keep
Oh,
warm?
okay. Funny thing about this, because he was like, "Hey, mom, they just texted me. I have to go to work in 30 minutes." I'm like, "Okay, can I help you get ready?" He's like, "No, I got it." And my boy's 17, right? And I'm like, "Do you have your lawn dog and a sweatshirt?" And but he wanted, "Can I make you some snacks? Can I make you hot chocolate?" And he's like, "Mom, I got it." And it's such a, with kids are getting older, especially 17, 18, it's like we need to let them be independent and fail. But I just wanted to like take care of him. So anyways, that was kind of a worry for me. Does he have enough layers? He wore like I think he had sweats on and snow pants, and then a shirt, a sweatshirt, and then he had a jacket from the company that had like reflective lights on, reflective tape on it, and then he brought a windbreaker jacket and hat and gloves and snow boots. And yeah,
It
it
does
was
not sound like
interesting.
enough.
it just,
It does
it,
not.
but he was
Negative
doing,
18.
it felt like maybe the temperature was like 1 or 2 degrees, but with the wind
Oh my
chill it
God.
feels colder. But he's doing manual work, shoveling. He said he had this bucket that was like 80 pounds full of salt that he had to carry to salt they have a contract with the hospitals. So he went to hospitals and condos and townhome developments and was like salting their sidewalks and stuff. So, I mean, it's hard work. And whenever you're like doing that
True.
manual labor and sweating, but it's also freezing. So yeah,
Wow.
I'm proud of my boy. So it's been beautiful
That's
here. It's a
yeah,
winter wonderland.
that's awesome.
I
Good
do
update.
love it. Yeah.
Nice and hot over here. 60 degrees. I should not be wearing a jacket right now.
Do you remember we have an Aunt Barbara when she would come? We grew up in San Diego. She would come and visit, and yeah, it'd be cold, like 60, 50, 60 degrees. No, 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 no. Opposite. She came from Arizona. So it was warm for us, like 70 degrees. And she's like, it's so cold. And she would wear sweatshirts whenever we're all in like tank tops and shorts and stuff. Do you remember that?
I
Because
do.
she's used to like super hot weather. And
Yeah.
she's like, I'm so cold.
Yeah, I remember that. Well, where I live now, it gets not as hot as Arizona, but it gets like 110. I think 115 is like the hottest days. But since I grew up in San Diego, um, when I go to San Diego, I'm cold. I'm I need to bring a jacket every time
Yeah,
because where I live now it's hot, and
warmer. Yeah.
over there I think the hot with how it is now with all the changes in the climate, I think it starting to warm up over there. Like it's gotten to 90 degrees, and I never heard of San Diego heating up to 90 degrees before. It's been 90 degrees over there. So, but just on a regular day, it's usually about 60, 65, and that's cold to me,
Yeah.
as you can see.
Um, what was I was just thinking about the weather. Growing up in San Diego, it was always kind of the joke, like, what are you going to talk about? The weather, like superficial. It's superficial. The weather, like, oh, another sunny day, let's talk about the weather. It is a big topic here because there's a lot of weather, and I feel like it's bonding. Like the people in Ohio are so resilient. Like it gets and I live in Ohio, so probably a lot of other states and places that they experience weather. And then it gets super cold, freezing, snow, school closures. And then in the summertime, I say it gets really hot. It's humid here, though. That like suffocating. You can't breathe.
Mm.
It's humid. And and so it's like a bonding thing I've experienced. I feel like the weather's
So
bonding.
it's not superficial like it is over here
No.
on the west coast.
That's right.
Uh,
How's the weather? Oh, another sunny
yeah,
day.
you have nothing else to talk about, but it's
Right.
an
Exactly.
actual bonding thing there.
Yeah,
And
conversation.
this right here is us catching up. It's not necessarily superficial. I feel like we are bonding, talking about our differences.
Because I actually have weather, but if you were talking with someone else there, what are you talking about? Like it's so cold.
True,
It's 65 degrees.
true.
Right. Yeah, that's the
Good point.
joke, I guess. Anyway, so how's your week been? How are you doing?
My week has been very eventful. Um, we have had lots of events at our home with rescuing a dog and trying to find its owner, and I've never done that before. That was pretty eventful. It's now in the process of trying to find its owner. And my son, he is doing really well in school,
Mm,
and my daughter, I think, needs to go to school, but she's only 2. But she
mm,
is just
so smart.
she's yeah, I mean, she has a brother in school, so she's just absorbing everything. So I feel that I also don't want to push. She's 2, like I don't want to push it, but she's she seems ready, like she's eager. How about you? How's your week going?
It also has been eventful. Um, the kids had off for Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and my daughter was sick. She just had a really bad sore throat. She went to school Tuesday. I took her to the doctor's on Wednesday and ended up having strep throat, and the kids had a snow day on Wednesday. Then they had another snow day on Friday, and my son's doing midterms, and it's been eventful as well. But I work from home now, which is such an incredible blessing. So I get to be home when the kids are home, obviously, and enjoy and not be out and have to drive to work in all this weather, and get to enjoy the snow. I have a window right here behind my laptop, so I get to enjoy the weather. Yeah, it's been good.
You know what I just noticed?
What?
We asked for updates and we just talked about our kids.
Both of us.
Yeah,
That's mom life, I guess.
that's mom life. So me, um,
Michelle gave a really big update last
I
episode,
did.
so you do not have to go there. No pressure on that, but yeah. What about you?
You, Desiree,
Go
your
ahead.
week.
Yeah. What? Um, taking care of the kids and the sick kids, and trying to help my son pack for working overnight
Yeah,
and
yeah.
being dejected. I mean, he was sweet about it. No thanks, mom, I got it. Okay. I am in counseling, and I go to counseling every week, and I had another challenging counseling session on Friday. So um it's really hard. The process can be daunting and hard, but also great growth and epiphanies and things I didn't really realize, I guess. So the process is exhausting. So yeah, that's my update, I guess. I'm in counseling and it's
I
hard.
love that you brought that up because we do discuss counseling here and there on this podcast, and we promote it because I've done it a majority of my life and you're actively in it. And we say, you know, it helps you so much, but you have to want to do the work because
Yeah, it's hard.
it, if you go into therapy and you open up all these doors to things and then you stop going, I think it's very, very impactful negatively if you don't continue, you because the doors are wide open and you don't know how to process it or work through it because you stop going. And I feel
Because it's too
that
hard.
if we are gonna, because it's too hard,
Yeah.
if you're gonna pursue it like we recommend, know that it's challenging, but you need guidance or else it's there's no closing the doors. Once the doors are open,
And
you got to
also,
work through it. I or else I go ahead.
with therapy, therapy can open doors, but it also can highlight doors that have been open that you didn't realize were still open. So there's kind of like two ways about that. Like in therapy, can dig into something and not realize it, and it opens a door, or you can realize something and like, oh, that's what that issue I've had. I didn't realize that was a door that was open. And does that even make sense? I don't know. I've experienced that, like realizing some things and opening that door to dig deeper, and then realizing some things in which the floodgates were open and I didn't know it was an open door. So yes, big proponents of therapy. It is hard work, but I mean, you're a testament to this about once you work through it and are realize it, you can be mindful of it, and it will just help you grow and be better in the future. And having a professional help you through that. And also, I think it's great to have a support team around you besides a counselor or a therapist. Michelle has been, and I have a few other women that I can call after. You get your 1 hour, and then what? Or for me, it's been mostly like 2 hour sessions. But then what? You got to wait a whole nother week or 2 weeks or month. It's great to have someone else to just process it with and talk more about things.
Yeah. I don't know what that's like, but I I I do know that a lot of the time I did mention this actually to my husband. We just had a conversation about this week actually, because he mentioned about therapy and he was like, well, I don't know, I think everyone should have it, but I've never gone. He's like, what do you think? And I said, I think everyone can use it
Mhm.
but you have to know that it's not easy. It's challenging, but you learn so much from yourself, why you are the way you are or why things bother you, and everything has a meaning, everything has a deeper meaning, and you find the roots of it, and so it helps you navigate life better. But once you go through it, and it's not you're there for an hour and that's it. You have the rest of the week, all those days of you, it it
Processing,
opens a door
continue.
and you're like,
Yeah.
huh, yeah, all through that. And so you got to be willing to work through all of that. And there's so many people that are not, and they're not
Right.
even aware. They're distracting
Right.
themselves. They're on their phones. I don't even know. Like I used to distract myself with my phone, social media. I just mindlessly look at everyone's beautiful lives, and then it made me feel worse, and then just keep going and looking, and that's why I stopped. I got off of everything, and I'm not on my phone or um social media or none of that. I'm on I get scolded a lot by people because I don't text or call them back on in a timely fashion, because I don't even know they called unless they leave a message or text me. But then even then, I see it. I'm like, I'll text them back. But right now, I'm not. I don't even have my phone on me. I lose it a lot. I mentioned this before, so I'm not going to get too much into it. But I see it a lot. And we're all we're all navigating life in our own way. But I see it not being we're not addressing things that need to be addressed because we're distracting ourselves. And I mean, there's a whole epidemic right now of mental health, and it's just I don't know if it's I don't know if it's always been this way and just now more people are talking about it, or it's worse now because people are distracting themselves and not addressing things, and then they're blowing up, or I'm not sure exactly what's happening, but I know that everyone that I've been like seeing is they're all in their own bubble. And a couple years ago I was pregnant, going to a bunch of doctors' offices, and I like to go in the doctor's office and sit and put my phone away and just be there. And I'm looking around and all these people are I never made eye contact with me, never made eye contact with anyone. They're just sitting there in their phones, just looking down, never addressing anything. And um, it feels lonely. And I do it
Yes.
intentionally to engage, to see someone, and for them to like look at me and I smile, give them a smile, make them feel seen
Seen. Mhm.
somehow, because everyone is in their own bubbles. I've noticed because I'm
Yeah.
intentionally paying attention.
Yeah. I agree. For me, it's the airports. I love traveling, and I love to hear people's stories. Are you going home? Where are you going? Are you on vacation? And when I go to the airport and you wait in the terminal because you have to go so early, and then you have to wait for an hour and a half or whatever. And so I put my phone down. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll chit chat with someone, just, connect with someone. And everyone is on their cell phone. And I just sit there sad, like, well, I kind of want to be on my cell phone too now. Like, I'm bored. I don't have anyone to chit chat with here. Yeah, I, it's, um, I think you're so right about it also being a distraction. Same thing with kind of like with me dealing with my stuff in therapy. It'd be easy to distract myself from my feelings, um, my thoughts. I mean, sometimes I do want to, I don't want to like sit in that or process it. It's hard work, but just, yeah, distract myself. The past couple of my distraction is solitaire. I love solitaire. I don't play any games on my cell phone except for solitaire. I could play for,
I
I
like
won't,
that game.
I won't say hours, but
You can
45
lose
half.
yourself in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good. All right. One, next game. Oh, I don't know. Stuck, next game. Yeah, it's
Did
easier
you
to
know that our grandfather played that game all the time and real cards
pop.
at at his desk?
I think I remember that. Yes, I think I remember that
Yeah,
with real cards. What?
with real cards. Yeah. You just that came up in my mind right now because you're saying you love it and I love it too. And
Oh, that's cute.
yeah,
Solitaire. And how ironic, solitaire. Just
I
you,
know. Just
solitaire.
you. How
Full
ironic.
circle right here.
Well,
Just yeah, it is distractions in life, and I feel like there's so many things we could talk about on that topic of distractions. What else?
you mentioned our last conversation. It got me thinking. That's what got me thinking. You said your daughter, she was upset about something and she asked for her tablet.
To watch
Is that-
cartoons. Yeah.
She
She wanted
wanted
to
to
watch
watch
Sophia the
cartoons.
First.
But she was vocal about it. She said,
Yeah.
I don't like feeling my, explain what she said again.
Specifically, I think she had just got stung by a bee in the backyard. It was like summertime. She was playing outside. She got stung by a bee. She was hurting and she was crying and upset. And I told her always, take some deep breaths. You need to calm down. She's like, no, I don't want to take deep breaths. I just want my tablet so I can watch some cartoons. I don't want to
Think
feel
it's that.
this. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So good.
And that was for me like, oh my gosh, stop, hold the phones. This is not, we cannot retreat to electronics to deal with our emotions. That was a big red flag for me of like, okay, no, no, you may not have your tablet right now. Let's go sit down, or you know you can distract yourself another way. I have more about that, but what are you saying? You brought it up.
Oh, it got me thinking of how much we all do that. I, it was a great, like you said it in passing, but it really stuck with me of how we all do that, of a feeling we're feeling and we don't like it, so we need to get instant gratification. We need to always feel good, which is good.
Yeah.
But we should do it in natural, positive ways, not distracting ourselves to where we're not handling whatever is
Right.
going on, because that's gonna keep on coming up, and then we're always just gonna be running from it
Yeah. And not know how to deal with it.
and not know
Running
how
from
to
it and
handle
not
it.
know. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what got me thinking, and then how I've done that in my life. Um, Even right now with what I'm going through with trying to not be on medicine, is I feel that, disclaimer, this is my journey. This isn't for everyone else like to follow. We're not professionals. This is just what's happening right now in my life. And I've been on medicine my whole life, and I feel like I have gotten the tools from years and years of therapy and all these things that I've learned about myself to handle what is going on in my life and the feelings that I'm feeling, because I have a better understanding where it's coming from, and things like that, to where I'm not running from it. The medicine helped, but it also, like I mentioned, it numbed things as well. So I wasn't really truly feeling things, and not even just medication on that, but if something did bother me, I'd try to find something to distract me. Um, Turn on music so I wouldn't think about it. I listen to music, or I would grab a drink, a beer or anything, just so that I wouldn't feel this uncomfortable feeling. And now that these things happen, just a couple of weeks ago, I was having Mariano mentioned something to me, and it made me feel a certain way, and I told him not to finish that sentence because it was triggering. But that's just stopping it. He could have finished that sentence, and I could have processed why it made me feel the way it felt, and it did. It got me. I didn't let him finish that sentence because I knew where I was going, but it already
Open the
woke
door.
something up in me,
Yeah.
and so I did have to process it anyways. But it was just too much at the time, and I'm like, no, don't finish what you're gonna say, because it's already there. And all this like uncomfortable feelings that we get, things happening in our lives, and we want to run from it versus
Addressing it,
facing
handling
it.
it. Yeah. Yeah, you had talked
Mhm.
about drinking. I was thinking about that too, that people use different things to cope with their negative feelings or past trauma or mental health. And drinking or drugs or toxic relationships or codependent relationships all could be like a um I'm thinking like a pacifier, like um because you don't want to deal with it. In a way, people self-medicate, but it's also a distraction, like they're trying to numb the feeling. I guess that's the same thing as social
Yeah.
media, watching a movie, binge watching a series. I'm absolutely guilty of, and you can, want to make yourself feel better, self medicate, which is distracting yourself from ourselves from processing what the real issue is. I remember
Yeah.
after daddy died, um, he died like the end of January, and for spring break, I just needed to distract myself. I didn't know how to get out of this like overwhelming grief, and I just would cry all the time. So I binge watched this one show called Once Upon a Time. It is a great family show. It's so cute. It's about all the fairy tale characters live in this little town, and it's a really, but I binge watched it, and I knew that I was doing it to distract myself from this grief that I was feeling, but I didn't know how to get out of it. It just felt too heavy. I didn't know how to deal with it. And if I just watched show after show after show, it brought me into a whole nother world where I didn't have to address the world that I was living in. Distraction.
I Yes. I love movies for that reason.
Yeah.
It's a nice escape from
Real
real
life.
life.
Yeah.
I love
Which real
movies.
life could be
Movies
great.
are great.
But if we're dealing with hard stuff or Yeah, it's the intent of our actions. Are we doing it for entertainment, as like just a joy, or is it, are we doing it to escape our reality, escape dealing with what we're dealing with? I mean, and we're all dealing with something. I mean, that's one of the things I love about Celebrate Recovery is just seeing why people go there. They're all battling different things, and it doesn't matter what it is. A battle is a battle. Depression,
Mhm.
anxiety, a lot of people are going there for pornography and lust and control, and you just, there's so many different, we're all battling stuff, just learning how to cope with it. And I'm scared for this next generation. We were pretty much, me more than you, I'm a little bit older, but um the last generation to have a true childhood. Like electronics and stuff kind of came, video games and stuff kind of came in when we were kids. It wasn't prevalent, it was expensive, it wasn't readily available. Cell phones weren't even a thing when we were kids. We were like, we're the last generation to really experience a true childhood. Now these kids, you see, oh, it's so heartbreaking. You see the babies and the toddlers in the shopping cart while the parents are shopping in the grocery store, and because the kids don't want to be bored, so they need to be distracted and stimulated. And how are they going to deal with life if they don't know how to deal with being bored? How are they going to deal with the hard things if they can't even just be bored? And
Yes.
it's easy for parents too. I've surely guilty of that. It's easy, like, oh yeah, just, play your electronics so I could do this or that or whatever. It's a conundrum. It's a
It is
societal
hard.
conundrum. Yeah.
Yeah, me and my husband both work full time, and when we get home, we have to do homework with our first grader. And I put something on for my 2-year-old so that we can help one of us helps my son while the other one's making dinner. So I put something on so my 2-year-old can watch something so we can do these things. And then she's not being interacted with. And then she, needs interactions, and I hold her while I help my son with homework. And then she wants to do the homework too. And then it's distracting for my son because he needs to focus on his homework. And yeah, it's a lot. I don't know how working parents did it when we were little, because we had a mom that was there for us every day, all day, every day. And
Yes, she sit at home. Well, we had what? Yeah, we had one parent at home to cook the meals and tend to us
mhm,
and help us
mhm,
with the homework and volunteer at the school.
mhm.
She was really involved to
Yes,
handle all that stuff. But two
yes,
parents who work, who handles that?
right. We need a housewife. So if you're looking to, no, just kidding.
Ohio or California, we're going to put in it. We're looking for a housewife. Actually, I had a sister wife when I lived in Sacramento. It was unofficial. We did not do a ceremony, but she was my honorary sister wife. She was my dear, dear friend. I miss her dearly. And she would come over once a week. She'd bring over wine. We watched Grey's Anatomy. She'd help me fold the laundry. It was such a great outlet for me to have that like connection and watch a TV show I loved, in which my husband would have never watched that show with me, and do laundry. And she'd help. She'd come over and sometimes bring stuff to make dinner. She was like Auntie Katie to my kids, and it was a beautiful relationship to have that communal
Wow, I don't
living,
know what that's
really.
like.
Yes,
I don't know
we
what that's
need
like.
we need sister wives. That's what we need.
That's great.
Yeah.
My mind's blown right now. I didn't know that existed.
What?
Someone coming over, helping you fold the laundry and bring things to cook dinner with you, and
Yes. She
wow.
was she was a great friend. Yeah. I mean, and she didn't have children, and she wasn't married. She had a boyfriend, and she had a lot more availability. But I've seen things where like I've done it before with other moms where we do meal planning. So like one Sunday we get together, bring the kids over and we shop for the whole week and we just pre-cook and meal plan for the whole week. I mean, it's just nice to do that with other people, I guess, and the kids can play or fight or whatever they're doing. And so that's, another variation that I've experienced. But yeah, I need a sister wife here. So if you're
So if
single and don't have any children and love folding socks, in which I hate, I need a sister wife in Ohio.
that's great. Well, so I, like I mentioned before a couple weeks ago, I got triggered and I told them to not continue, but I still needed to process why it made me feel a certain way, and we did talk about it later and why I reacted that way. And I think that it's important, if you need to take a breather, distractions are okay if you're going to address it
Yes, that's a great
at a
point in a
later
healthy
point
way.
versus
Yes.
versus
Escape.
escape and
Yeah.
never address it, because that's what I used to do. And I do address it now. I just if it feels like too much, then I need to step away, and but it is addressed and worked through and talked about, and so I do that. And I wanted to put it out there, like, distractions may be okay if you
Yeah.
do address it at a later time when you're better equipped or better prepared, and not I just need to escape and not deal with this ever because I don't like this feeling. It's a big
Yes.
difference.
That is a great point, Michelle. I'm glad you brought that up. Distract. I guess anything could be used for the good or used for the bad. Just
True.
in general, yeah.
Be
That's good.
mindful of it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. So those kids behind you playing football are distracting
Yeah.
you. Speaking of distractions,
I'm
it's
so
really cute though.
sorry.
I love to see that. It's
I'm
good to
like,
see you
yeah, it's
out.
raining today. No one's gonna be out there, and now the playground is full and everyone's coming out. But it is it's cold for me, but if they're running around, they're not cold, like you mentioned. Should I move?
No, no, it's good. I love to see it. I love to see the greenery and people outside because that is not my life here right now. People are bundled up in the house and it's not green, it's white. Hey, Michelle, do you have any last thoughts about distractions? I love this conversation. I feel like it's vast. Like, this is just like a
Yeah.
little bit. I'd love to talk more about this down the road, but do you have any more thoughts?
Just to elaborate on what I just said, is that distractions, if it's handled to where you're not ignoring it completely, it and you need a distraction so that it doesn't consume you and you're spiraling out of control, I want to say it's okay. But if you're doing it to um ignore the matter and not address it, then I suggest that you rethink that, because it's gonna keep coming up
Yeah,
and get worse, like
over time. Yeah.
over time. So I just want to reiterate that.
Yeah. That is good. And I guess it all goes back to mindful living. This is what we're talking
Yes,
about. Mindful living is being mindful of our feelings, of our emotions, of our interactions, of our relationships. And if you use distraction in a healthy way momentarily, or to, like you said, hey, I need to put this off to the side. I'm going to distract myself with something else, but you're mindful about it. That's a conscious choice that you know you're going to get back to it. It's all about mindful living, really being intentful and mindful of
Yes,
life.
that's
I think
right.
yeah, I think a lot of people are mindless on their cell phones, just scrolling, and it's a hard beast. It's addictive. I don't know if you've seen any of those documentaries about like the social experiment, or how they design it to pull us in, and
Mhm.
um, it's working. We have to like be mindful of that too. It's hard. It can be hard.
Yeah, that's why I got rid of it all,
Yeah.
because I saw it and I did not like how I was living, how mindless it was. So
Hmm.
yeah, it was so freeing. At first, it wasn't. I felt like I don't know what to do with myself.
Hmm.
Then now it's it is so freeing.
Kind
I
of
recommend it.
similarly to therapy. It's hard at first, or
Ew.
anything that you do new, but then once you get in the habit, get in the routine, it can be so freeing. Like, okay, yeah, I can't wait to be
Yes.
free. I'm looking forward to
Yes.
continue unlocking this and working through all this
You
stuff.
got this. If I could do it, anyone can do it.
All right. Good. Anything else?
And that's it. That's a wrap.
That's a wrap. Great. I love this. We're going to have to talk more about distractions, get deeper into it, because I think there's a lot. Okay, well, thank you for joining us in our conversation. And like I said in the beginning, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. You have reached out to us and sent us text and encouraging messages and feedback. We really appreciate all of that. So we were just here sharing our journey and insights. Hopefully, it's inspired or encouraged or taught you something. And this is our mission for this and why we're doing this. So, subscribe, share the videos that impact you or you think might impact someone, and we'll keep the conversation going. Sound good, Michelle?
That sounds awesome. Yes,
Okay.
please subscribe, get alerted so that you keep up with our conversations.
And let us know what you'd like to hear us talk about, or your thoughts in it. We'd love to hear your input too. So with
Yes.
that, we're going to wrap up here, and we'll talk next week.
All right, Desiree.
All
Talk to
right.
you next week.
All right. Bye.
Bye.